let's see first of all if we can record the call because that's going to be important, and let's say that's a minimum that we can do ideally. Okay,
I
yes,
think it's already recording.
it's already recording. Okay.
It's already recording. Okay, that's good.
In any case, we have the recording. Arsh, you have been able to join using the link invitation, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so then everybody can join. That's fine. Not going to be able to live stream, thanks to to this Zoom setting. We'll sort it out for next one. And what I'm going to do, I'll collect the recording and publish it for maybe tomorrow sometime, like we have done a previous community meeting. So sorry for that. Nice to see you, Arsh, once again. And that's quite a crazy weekend days for Laurent and I at KubeCon. Close to the end of the week, but we are already, let's say, exhausted but happy as well. Let's say it like that. So I think this community meeting, Laurent, will be more related to this special week, which is KubeCon Europe in Amsterdam. And what we have done, what we still have to do, because we are still here till tomorrow, and also the opportunity to, let's say, to tell more about the two talks related to Microcks that were done during that week. Maybe to start with, and just for the one who like all stories and stories about Microcks, I think I always like to remember, and that's also why we are so happy to be here and back in Amsterdam, because as you know, Microcks has been started 10 years ago. Laurent have done the first commit on GitHub 10 years ago. That's something that we have celebrated at the beginning of the year. But the project has been donated to the CNCF Foundation a little bit more than 3 years ago now. And it all started at KubeCon Europe, Amsterdam 4 years ago. That's where we have started to interact with Technical Advisor Group, TOC, the CNCF organization. We have done lightning talks, and we were clearly trying to be in touch, do networking as much as we can in order to see if Microcks could be a good fit for the CNCF. We have had strong conviction with Laurent on that point. But what we can tell you and share with you as well, that it was not as easy as expected for multiple reasons. The first one is we've been certainly the first tool more oriented for the developer persona to join the CNCF. As you certainly know, CNCF is more and was more, let's say, because it has improved a lot, very, very infra-oriented. We are more a tool to help to put workload on top of Kubernetes than managing Kubernetes itself, clearly. So that was the first big challenge. And the other one is certainly and clearly the first tool fully written in Java to join the Go landscape of plenty of projects. So that's 2 points. It doesn't seem to be big, but I can tell you that it was a lot of discussion to clearly explain and describe why we think that we perfectly fit. And 3 years after, the community is growing like skyrocket. We're on the way to move to incubation, and now we can tell you more about that week, because clearly Laurent and I we have had a lot of conversation in the previous hours. We clearly think that it's certainly the best KubeCon that we have ever done regarding Microcks traction and conversations. So, Laurent, up to you. I'm speaking too much.
Yeah, so let me say a lot of no. One thing that really struck me this year, and that's why also it's one of the best KubeCon ever, is the kind of interaction we had on the kiosk, because we have a kiosk at the Project Pavilion yesterday. And there is definitely a big shift regarding regarding how people are perceiving Microcks. I remember that, maybe last year, people were coming and were just asking for what could be the benefits of mocking services, mocking APIs, what could be the benefits of doing contract testing? Tell me the story. And so now this year, it is much more about, hey, I know what could be the benefits. We know that we have to do contract testing, otherwise it's a mess because we are delivering tons of APIs and it's a mess. So we want to do contract testing and mocking, but now tell me how to do this. So that's really cool because, it's first it demonstrates that what we are advocating for years starts to let's say to be understood, and people are gaining a lot of maturity on those topics. And the second effect is that yes, it allows to have really deep dive conversations on how to integrate mocking into your organization, how to focus on the pains you have to solve. It could be on the developer experience side of things. It could be on the platform engineering side of things. It could be from a governance perspective. So it really, really led us to very deep dive interactions and discussions. So that's really cool. Really, really.
Yeah, we really met some, clearly, as Laurent said, organizations who were, let's say, coming for chatting with us, but really, really on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, they were here to, and it's like that at most every event and KubeCon, but this time, I mean, I didn't count, the number of people who were just coming and chatting with us and claiming, we are already using it.
Yeah, sure. And one thing also that I've noticed is that, from the beginning, I would say that people having this maturity on mocking and contract testing were much more the big fishes, the big banks, insurance companies, retail or transportation services. But let's say not the small one, medium to large companies. And this year we also saw a few startups, not few, but we saw startups that were there, and they were telling us that okay, we released first APIs maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago. Now we have the generation 2 of our APIs, generation 3, and we realize that we still have customers that are using generation 1, and they have to transition to the next generation. We have to make this the smoother way possible, and we start struggling with those too many versions of API, with the quality assurance on top of it, and so on. And so that's really nice to hear also, because yes, those companies are also maturing, and they're starting also to face the same issues, even if they are not yet at scale of the big one. That's really cool.
Yeah, clearly. And I can share my screen as well, because we have had a nice story. It doesn't happen at KubeCon very often, let's say. We met this company, Get Your Guide. And the guy said, yeah, I'm using it. I'm using test container library, and I'm on the way to do a PR, and very, very deep and cool conversation. And guess what? Right after, because we also, KubeCon for us is also the way to clearly explain how the project is working and what we expect, let's say, in return from adopters and so on. And 2 hours after, we receive a PR, and they claim happy to join as a public adopter. So that's the story about Get Your Guide, and a big thanks to Lucas that we have seen yesterday, and for the PR that he have created, and we have merged immediately. That's amazing and very, very appreciated, because that's clearly demonstrate how committed these companies are, of helping the projects they rely on, and we love that. Thanks a lot. And if you can give ideas to any of us, especially the one who are using Microcks, feel free to raise a PR and join the adopter list, please. So that's a cool story, and we have had plenty of a conversation like that, and good exchanges as well on features, improvement, the way they are using it within their organization. A lot of question, sometimes on how can I do that? And sometimes we have made a huge amount of improvement on the documentation, but we also realize sometimes that, yeah, maybe we need to describe that in a better way, because if people are asking this question twice, that certainly means that we may need to improve something. So that's why
Exactly.
we really love KubeCon and this type of event and interaction. So that's excellent. And now maybe we can say a few words regarding the two talks, because it's also a KubeCon where Microcks have been represented twice, and that's amazing. So Laurent, maybe if you would like to start regarding the talks that
Yeah,
you,
or
Mathieu,
maybe Harsh,
or
depending
Art.
if you want to give us an overview and a teasing before the replay will be available. Yeah, up to you.
Like I don't have much to say. The things like I got the mostly virtual responses from the people, and I got the response like people liked it, and like yeah, that's the main plus point for the talk of the Microcks. And the other thing is like people were excited for this talk because like they wants to listen like what's the new things in Microcks and how they can like in the new way they can use the Microcks. So it was like it was a good to see like people have already the idea, and then they are like they are getting the new things for the Microcks. So it was a good thing. Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and
cool.
maybe, Ash, maybe you can do some recap, what was the talk title and
Oh yeah,
purpose,
sorry.
because,
Sorry. I
everything
forgot.
related to EDA, async API, clearly we can tell you we were in the room with Laurent, and all the people who were in the room were very, very focused on the topic on async and way to improve stuff with async. So if you can maybe tell us a little bit more, especially for all the people who may check the recording and unfortunately have not been able to be at KubeCon. But as Laurent said, we'll advertise, so follow me, Microcks on social, because as soon as the recording of Vestalks is online, we'll advertise and share it clearly broadly, because it clearly deserve it.
Yeah. So the like main focus of my talk was to how mock the async APIs with the Microcks, and that even sitting inside their Kubernetes environment, like your cloud native environment. And like me and Anushka both, like Anushka is from async API. She was contributing to async API, and like she was mentee over there. So the main idea of the idea was like she's representing the async API community, and I am representing the Microcks community, and the both the community like how they are doing good stuff, and how they are improving this event driven architecture with this mocking stuff, and like how they can help to the people who actually using this specs file. And then like from that spec file, like how we can directly generate the real time mocks with the Microcks. And that was the main goal behind this talk. There was plenty more thing I was prepared like before this talk like in January, but due to my like my absence in the, like physical absence, like I was not able to convey the whole thought over there. But I'll definitely try to create some tutorial around this, and we'll definitely put this on the Microcks main channel, so like people can directly get it from there.
Yeah, excellent. And you know that your video recordings was excellent. You know, the conditions
Thank
were
you.
excellent and the sounds was nice. The video was great. So I think
Thank
the
you.
messages you have to convey were clearly clearly shipped and clearly delivered. So that's cool.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's a really great talk.
thanks, Arsh, and
Thanks.
thank Anushka for your commitment on having been able to create and deliver that talk. Laurent, I clearly think that it's something that you may do at other KubeCon. Maybe don't change that much. do it and idly do it two together on stage will be more than happy for you, especially Harsh. That's because you have not been able to join. But remember soon, KubeCon North America, KubeCon Japan, KubeCon in India. I'm sure that you can certainly submit that talk again, because it clearly deserves to have a voice, because it's a topic that we never ever saw at KubeCon.
Exactly. And you know that, I thought that with the new features that are coming regarding how to bridge, synchronous REST interactions with asynchronous, I think there is also a lot to demonstrate here on how dynamic it could be just when we are capturing the context of the initial request and then transferring it to the asynchronous side of things. So yeah, it's already very, very good, but you could also imagine way more demonstration and so on. So
exactly.
Maybe one
And
day
like
we'll do.
for the each protocol, we can like create this talk. Like we can create it for the gRPC, for the REST, for the async API, like whatever protocol we have. And in the async API, we have multiple protocols support like Kafka, RabbitMQ, and NanU. So like there are multiple choices of the talks over there.
The number of combination is
yes, exactly.
You know, we have with async API on Microcks for doing mocking and testing. We have 8 bindings, which mean you can go to AWS submit, Google submit, Kafka submit, and so on. So, and with the same talk.
24 possibilities. 24 possibilities, so 24 opportunities.
I was talking the same thing with Anushka. Like we had this conversation, like while we had this talk selected, and we were planning to some talk for the KubeCon India, but she was not prepared for that time. So like I was talking like, then she asked like, what is the idea? So I talked like we have the various opportunities over there. Like we have multiple combinations over there. And we can explore everything like over there. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
Cool. Yes, I can also give a brief teasing on my talk if you want. So recording will be available. I don't know. Sometimes it takes
a few weeks.
A few weeks. Yes. So I can share my screen. I still have the slides at hand. So not going to do the wall stuff, but just to show you. Yeah. So my talk was kind of like a better together story, and it was about how to bridge your inner development loops and your outer loops. And it was delivered with Mathieu Benoit from the SCORE project. And so typically, yes, it's a better together story. And the beginning of the story is that we deployed this application that is called TraderX by Finos, and it's a simple application that has been built to demonstrate the microservices architecture and to demonstrate something that is aimed to be a simple application for trading. So you can browse accounts, you can place new trades, see the positions of the different accounts, this kind of stuff. And actually here it starts to be complex, but it's just a logical view of the application. When you deploy stuff on Kubernetes, it's way more complex. But the idea here was to also explain how you can deploy this locally on your machine. And typically, when you want to deploy this application, we identified 3 pain points. It's typically when you want to have access to dependencies that are not yet ready, because all the things can move in a very isolated ways. You can have access, but it comes with a price. It costs you a lot of CPUs, memory, and cognitive load for deploying everything and to be able to develop it on your machine. And it also brings you a lot of, let's say, still cognitive load, but regarding the configuration stuff. So, and it also has a high risk regarding the configuration drift between different environments. And so with, me and Mathieu, we demonstrate how you can use SCORE to abstract way, for example, the deployment on Docker Compose on one side for the YARN loop and Kubernetes on the other side on the outer loop. And how you can then put Microcks in the mix on these different stages of the two different loops so that you can also accelerate stuff. You can cut off your dependencies. So even if a dependency is not yet ready, is not available, you can still use Microcks to mock things, to bring simulations to life. And now on the outer loop, on the CI/CD pipeline and so on, how you can use Microcks to also do some conformance testing so that even if you have used mocks during your development, it helps you to ensure a smooth integration when you will replace mocks by your real API implementation. So that was the starting point of the demonstration, and yes, it was a live demo with a lot of codes, of a lot of a lot of explanation. But if I can just demonstrate one thing that I really appreciate on this integration, let me show you something that is yes, here, a score file. Okay, and can you still see my screen?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, that's cool. So here, for example, I'm looking at the what is the component? Yes, the trade service, one of the main component, and you can see that one really nice thing about Score is that it allows you to describe your application in terms of what your application will provide and what your application will need, and in a very abstract way. So typically here you can see that this application, this component trade service will be represented by a container image. It will be configurable using those variables. It will provide a port, a service port, okay? And in order to work correctly, it will need some resources. You can see, so those are just service resources, for example, but you can also define resources as being databases, as being a Redis cache, as being a Kafka broker, whatever. We have different type services. And so here, different type of resources, sorry. And so here the type is service, okay? So basically, this is very abstract way of describing things. And then depending on the environment you will want to deploy this application, Score will be smart enough to say, hey, this service is actually here and has been actually deployed in environment. And yes, I will provide you with the real implementation. And so it will bind automatically your trade service component to the people service component, for example. Or if you, for example, if you deploy stuff on your local machine, it can just say that, yes, the people service is not available for so many reasons, because you don't have enough resource on your machine or because you just want to use simulation. And in that case, it will just spin up a Microcks instance, fill it with the different artifacts, and wire your trade service to the people service mock provided dynamically by Microcks. So that's really cool because whatever the environment you're on, you're just launching the same command, and it's Score that figure out, hey, I'm on the Kubernetes cluster in production, and yes, everything is ready. So I will just wire you to the real implementation. Or no, you're on your developer laptop, you have very few resources, and I will just spin up a Microcks and put a simulation within your application. And I think that is really elegant, because from a developer perspective, you just describe abstract dependencies here, and it's up to Score to figure out what you should, depending on the environment, what you should have actually deployed on your machine, on your cluster. So that's really, really, really nice. And so basically, yes, can I just show you something here? I think, yes, I will try to do the demo. Let's not, yes, this one. So basically, if I have, yes, make compose up. So here, score is doing the inspection of everything. Yes, and here it will just provide you mocks. You can see that here we have mocks. We should have mocks here again. And if I'm just going to my application, it should be this one, yes, localhost 8080. Yes. So here you have the finance application. You can select account and you can play around with this application. You can see that, yes, everything is working, but under the hood, everything has been, let's say, provisioned by Score in a very smart way, because here, typically, we are using mocks for everything. And so if you are looking at port 99, yes, this one, you see that yes, a micro content has been split up with all the services that Scores has decided to populate because it makes sense regarding the environment configuration. And you can see if you check the traces, for example, yes, the mocks have actually been used because they are wired in this application. So that's really, really, really cool. Yeah, so this explanation, what is Score, what is about, and yes, just because I love this slide, at the end of the day, we figured it out, and yes, it's green everywhere. We solved the pain point. So that was really cool, and the demo was really smooth. The talks and the interaction with Mathieu were really nice. So really, really happy with this.
Yeah,
Very
and
much.
it's also, I mean, which was funny because we have had more ops people who were coming at the kiosk as well, thanks to this call, to discover Microcks for some of them because they clearly understood and have clearly understood the value of score, but also the fact that the Microcks can be easily and finally well provided to as a service within their company for developer usages. And the gap between ops and dev in that situation is really, really smooth forward. And I think it's also a talk that like your talk, Arsh and Anushka, some talk that can be repeated on many other events because it really put the spotlight on something and two projects that together can solve out a big pain within quite a lot of organizations who try to be more DevOps oriented, let's say, but in real life, and that's not easy. And here, I think, as Laurent said, I clearly think that there is a very elegant way to do it, and a very way to do it in a fully automated way as well, which is quite nice and important. So that's cool, and clearly you can count on us to share broadly these two talks recording because that can clearly help to promote the speakers and the implication you have had, and also what we've been able to do with this solution in order to help the community once again, because that's still and always our mantra. Okay. I think that's quite nice already and good regarding KubeCon and the overall conversation we have had at KubeCon. I don't know, Laurent, if you have anything related to KubeCon you would like to add. We have done so many things with these latest days that I'm certainly have may miss something.
Yeah, but still very fresh. So I think maybe tomorrow while traveling back home, I will think of so many other stuff, and we will have the opportunity to, let's say, yes, make another summarize later on. But yeah, for now, still in the, in the event. So that's all I see.
Yeah. Clearly, we have not seen that many talks on our side. Of course, your talk, Arsh and Anushka, but we've been very, very busy on community conversation meetings and so on. But yeah, we'll also catch up on some recording that we may have missed for the friends who are watching us, because we have quite a lot of good friends at CNCF, and it's quite fun to see, friends who are supporting each other and coming to each other's talks. That's cool. That's also the beauty of the community, let's say. Okay, so back to business next week, let's say. Back to Microcks, maintaining the project and keep going with the community. Sorry if we've been, let's say, not as responsive as usual regarding the question we may receive on GitHub and so on. Laurent have made already quite a lot of answers and responses and so on, but it's not that easy to, let's say, to do everything during these crazy days. And Arsh, I don't know if you have any other topic you would like to bring on board or conversation you would like to add for this community meeting. Feel free, be our guest.
No any topic right now. So yeah, we are good.
Good. All right. I think that's already close to 35 minutes, maybe shorter than some of the previous community meeting. But if it's fine with you folks, maybe we can close it a little bit early. And as I said, for the one who will check the recording, we have not been able to live stream. So sorry for that, but we'll live stream. And you may see us live stream the day after that recording, but it's still us, and I hope that you're going to enjoy it. And feel free to provide feedback and so on, and join the community on Discord, on GitHub, if you would like to know more, and chat with the community on all the stuff that we've discussed today. All right. Okay for all? We close it today?
Yes,
Okay.
sure.
Yes. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye all. Yeah.
And chat with you soon then.
Yeah, have a great
And
evening.
we'll see you